If you've ever wondered why mindfulness feels hard, why it's difficult to stay calm, or why your mind won't stop, this video will help. Because at the heart of every meditation practice, every spiritual tradition, and every emotional regulation tool is one essential skill: presence. The ability to be here, in this moment, grounded in your body, and not lost in the tornado of thoughts, fears, or past conditioning. In today's video, we're going to explore what presence actually is, why it's so rare in modern life, and simple practical tools to find it, even on a chaotic day. I'll be sharing from my own experience and from some of my favorite teachers, Eckhart Tolle and Michael Singer. Let's start with the simplest definition. First, presence is being in the present moment, not in the past, not in the future. It's being right here in this moment, experiencing the moment, not as a thought, but as a felt sense of being in your body in the moment. So when you're fully present, you're in a state of not thinking. This is a huge shift for most people, and probably the hardest thing to grasp. We'll talk more about this later. Second, presence is the awareness behind your thoughts. It's the part of you that sees what's happening without being hijacked by it. What spiritual teachers often refer to as the one who sees, the watcher, or the seat of consciousness. Being able to separate from your thoughts and realize that space of awareness is on some level what spiritual traditions are referring to as enlightenment, or the beginning of awakening. What are you awakening to? You're awakening to a different state of consciousness that you hadn't even known existed, just like waking up from a dream state. It's easier to understand that when you're dreaming, you're in a specific state of consciousness, a dream state. If you're totally in the dream, you think the dream is real until you wake up. Now, you're in a different state of consciousness, an awake state, where you know the dream is just a dream. Presence is awakening from the dream of being totally identified with your thoughts and emotions, of thinking that this stream of thinking is who you are. And it's realizing that there's a part of you that's aware of those thoughts and emotions and is yet untouched by them. There's a stability there, a stillness there, a peace there. And for me, when I'm able to come home and find this part of myself, it just feels like there's so much space. It feels like coming home. I've been practicing mindfulness for a decade now and mentoring people moving through all kinds of traumas and transitions for almost as long. And I can tell you, for most people, myself included, presence is hard. It's an uphill battle. Most of us live in a constant state of internal distraction, replaying past conversations, forecasting the worst case scenario, scanning for danger, planning for the next meal or activity, predicting, preparing, or managing emotions that we never really processed. We don't do this because we're weak or unfocused. We do it because our nervous system is wired for survival. Michael Singer explains this beautifully in his book, The Untethered Soul. You're not the voice in your head. You're the one who hears it. The problem is, no one teaches us how to step out of that voice. So we identify with it. We believe it. We let it run the show, and we think that voice is who we are. Presence interrupts that cycle. It gives you the capacity to witness your inner world without being ruled by it, and that is everything. Think about it. If you can take ownership of the part of yourself that you're creating from, that has the power to change every single aspect of your life. Usually during the first weeks of my year-long mindfulness course, I get a lot of blank stares from my new students when I'm talking about presence. It's because presence is not a concept that we can grasp with our minds. It's an experience that we come to know through our bodies. When you're just starting, it's helpful to get some physical pointers. For most people, presence feels like your breath dropping a little deeper, your mind watching your breath, your body softening, your jaw releasing, your mind becoming more and more spacious, your awareness shifting from being up in your head to dropping down into your body, especially the space around your heart. In presence, there's a quietness underneath everything. Not an absence of thought, but room around your thoughts. One of the analogies I love is that your awareness is an open sky, and your thoughts are like the clouds passing through. When you're present, you can see the thoughts float through without losing the sense that you are the sky that's holding them. Presence feels like being inside your life instead of watching it rush by. And here's the beautiful part. Nobody can keep you from it. It's not something you'll achieve or earn. It's something you'll return to again and again. In my program, sometimes we call it touching home. Here are simple, practical ways to find presence. No perfection required. First, I want to make sure you understand that presence is a practice. In my mindfulness group last week, one of my longtime students, Janet, made the perfect analogy. Janet had recently been in a car accident and she was doing rehab with a physical therapist. They were having her stand on this balance board, forcing her muscles to fire and stabilize. Once she finally got the hang of this, they had her try standing on this balance board with her eyes closed. She was shocked at how difficult it was. She had to really drop in and connect with her breath and with the tiniest shifts in her alignment until for just a moment she would catch it and feel the steadiness of being in this perfect balance and alignment before something would shift and she would lose it again. That's what it's like to access presence. It's like being tuned in, paying close attention, and using your full focus to maintain an inner alignment that's not being pulled or distracted by the thoughts, emotions, or circumstances that are constantly changing around you. Here are my 3 favorite anchors to presence that I use for myself and with my students on a daily basis. First, feel your breath. Breath is one of the easiest access points to presence because it's always here. And it's a natural connector between your mind and body. Check out my daily sit playlist where I've got several 2 to 5 minute practices to guide you through specific techniques and build a strong anchor of presence through your breath. You'll notice the coolness of the inhale, the warmth of the exhale. Especially pay attention to the spaces that occur naturally in the breath. The space at the top of the inhale, the space at the very bottom of a long, slow exhale. The space in the breath can be a portal to the space of presence in you. Even one conscious breath can change your mental state. Second anchor, use your sense perceptions. Presence lives in the body. As soon as you are sensing in your body instead of thinking in your head, you've already shifted yourself into the network of your brain where presence is possible. Notice the weight of your body in your seat, the temperature of the air. Notice your connection to the ground through the soles of your feet or the base of your seat. Follow sounds as they rise and fall. Tapping into your sense perceptions instantly interrupts mental spiraling. Anchor number 3, become aware of the inner body. What is the inner body? It's what my favorite spiritual teacher, Eckhart Tolle, calls the energy field of the body. Or in more practical words, it's the sensation you can feel in your body when you're paying attention. For example, if I say, close your eyes and take a deep breath, can you feel your feet? As you pause and feel or sense, you'll notice a hum, a buzz, a tingling, like feeling your feet from the inside out. When I first came to mindfulness, the inner body was like this huge revelation for me. I had never really thought to notice this part of myself before, and it certainly never occurred to me that it would have a name. As you practice noticing your inner body, you'll notice you can move this sensation. You can move it up from your feet, over your ankles, over your kneecaps, over your thighs, through your belly. You can rest it around your heart. When you're in a state of consciousness where you can feel and move the inner body, you're in a state of presence. Pretty cool, huh? Many people think presence means no emotions, no triggers, no anxiety, no stress. But presence is not about eliminating our human experience. It's about learning to hold it differently. Presence gives you emotional regulation, clarity, grounded responses instead of reactions, the ability to stay connected during conflict, a sense of inner safety, and a deeper connection to your intuition. But it doesn't erase the trigger. It doesn't erase the stress. It brings presence to the stress. And in presence, that stress runs its course. You can watch it like a cloud in the sky, arise and dissolve. What we're not doing when we're in presence is feeding that stress with the mind and more stories that create more stress. At its deepest level, presence brings consciousness into everything you touch, and it allows what Eckhart Tolle calls the deep I, that's the capital letter I, the deep I, to flow into your life, instead of having your life run by the small, fearful, egoic self. Presence is not the absence of the storm. It's the awareness that you are not the storm. When people begin to access presence, I see 3 big shifts. First, they stop living on autopilot. Life becomes more intentional and less reactive. 2, they become more compassionate with themselves and with others. Presence softens judgment and allows the space for curiosity. 3rd, they experience more peace even when their circumstances don't change. Why does this happen? Because they are meeting the circumstance with a part of them that knows they're okay, with the part of them that is already whole, connected, and unafraid. What I might call their divine essence, or the deep I. Presence is the foundation of healing, resilience, growth, and inner freedom. Presence isn't something you master, it's something you practice moment by moment, breath by breath. In the words of Eckhart Tolle, wherever you are, be there totally. If you want to experience presence in your body right now, try my guided Ujjayi breath practice next. It's a great place to start calming the mind and finding glimpses of presence through the breath. If this video was helpful, explore my daily sit series or check out Undone Academy, my year-round trauma-informed mindfulness-based framework for healing almost anything. You can find everything I do at beckymuller.com. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in my next video.